Ron DeSanctimonious is dropping in the polls so fast. Florida did great long before DeSantis came along. I like people that are loyal. When you help somebody, you expect that there'll be a certain amount of dignity and loyalty. We didn't get that from Ron, but that's okay because we're going to beat him.
We're going to beat him because he may just be running. Former President Trump releasing multiple videos just like that one, slamming Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Julia Manchester with The Hill here with me right now. So he may or may not be a contender in this presidential race, but when it comes to DeSantis, it also is ultimately, I can speak today, boils down to loyalty. So let's listen to what DeSantis has been saying as he hit back at the former president over his legal troubles in New York.
I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that. If you look at my administration, part of the reason we're able to do well, they're not leaking to the media. We don't have palace intrigue. We don't have any drama.
So is DeSantis kind of moving along slowly, tactically, tacitly, and then hoping that because he doesn't have any drama, quote unquote, he'll be a better choice for so many Republicans?
You're exactly right, Adrienne. And right now, DeSantis is really trying to thread that needle as he prepares to potentially launch a presidential run later this year. Look, DeSantis is very well aware of the fact that his voter base overlaps very much with Donald Trump's voter base, that they are very much competing for the same group of GOP primary voters, that there are many voters that support Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis inside and outside of Florida. So Ron DeSantis there in those comments that you just played is very much trying to contrast himself with Trump. So creating this image that he is Trumpian in his policies and much of his demeanor and such, but contrasting himself by saying, look, I don't have the same baggage. I don't have the same drama surrounding me. And that's what you've seen a lot of these other potential and announced GOP primary players do. They're very much saying that they are a new voice, a fresher face for the Republican Party to contrast themselves with Donald Trump. However, polling, at least at the national level, still shows Donald Trump very much leading that primary field.
Yeah, and really, I mean, is it good PR for DeSantis to be coming out and saying, you know, we don't have any drama, let me hit back over a couple of these major and controversial storylines? Meanwhile, there are plenty of photos of him and Mr. Trump together when it was okay for him to be friends when he needed the help, but now not so much. I mean, that's not a good look. How far can he go in trying to separate himself from Mr. Trump?
You know, I think he can go far in contrasting himself with Trump, talking about how in 2022, for example, last year, DeSantis won big in Florida, and Republicans under DeSantis' administration have won big in Florida, and they have expanded their margins. And DeSantis has talked about that in the past when Donald Trump has attacked him. DeSantis has essentially said, well, we've won in Florida. That was because of me. So I think that works. But you're right. He does walk a very tightrope with contrasting himself on that end.
And I know he has an event scheduled this week in Atlanta, Georgia, with his book tour, maybe a subtle way to test the waters some more as to what people are thinking outside of his great Sunshine State.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the book tour is definitely a way for DeSantis to absolutely test the waters. But Atlanta, Georgia is one case. I want to see how DeSantis performs in these early primary and caucus states, Iowa, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Nevada. Especially in Iowa and New Hampshire, you're going to see DeSantis having to get face-to-face with voters. It won't be in these large auditorium-like settings like where he is promoting his book tour. He's going to have to be talking face-to-face with voters in an interpersonal way.
We'll find out if it's personal or performative. Julia Manchester, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.